Harbord Village History Group. Thank you, Nicole.
I want to say welcome to everybody who's here today. I'm much more comfortable asking questions than listening, but I've agreed to do this. It makes sense. Again, I just want to thank all the different agencies and groups that helped pull this together for us. My work was really just seriously the tip of the iceberg because of the rest of our team. And Nicole mentioned them, so I won't do that. What I'm going to do, my team might not appreciate it, but I've decided I'd like to read out the name of every person that I interviewed. And when you listen to the names, you'll see that you come from so many different backgrounds, variety of cultures and religions, and you obviously speak many other languages. My first interview was the 20th of December, 2011. And the next one was the 3rd of January. So really, it's just about 2 years. So I'm just going to roll through the names. Sandy Foster, Ruthie Kosower, Mr. Joel, Harvey Jacobs, Rose Rodriguez, Matt Greenberg, Jane Adams, Betty Pratt, Arthur Zimmerman, Sheldon Silverman, Francis Godkin, Anna and Bob Barnett, Judith Robertson, Max and Lute Voss, Mercedes and Bill DeMello, Susie Fagan, Lori Kay, Ella Wolfish, hello, and Joel Kay, Wilson Kahn, Nettie Vidadis de Frias, Merck and Carmel Chloe, Helen and Barry Goldless, Marcia Ginsburg, Faith Jackson, Susan Potts, Ann Stone, Rosie Schwartz, Bob and Colleen White, Mary Nico, Norman Cook, Karen Faher, Paulo Fernandez, Felicidade Fernandez, David DePoe, Jack Brass, Janice Dembo, Hindi Hurt, Stuart Schoenfeld, Doreen and George Tripp, Iman Nung, Chris Duffield, Norman Track, Victoria Giannoni, Celia Giannoni. Sylvia Peretta brought them to me, and where's Sylvia? Yes, Sylvia, very helpful. I'll come back to you. Debbie Cowitz, Marvin Dreyer, Celeste Thuda, and her granddaughters and her great-granddaughters were all together when we had that interview. Mervyn Key, Ruth Bredner, Gerald Sperling, Paul Ho and his mother Chun Ho, Abraham Blank and Dee Biggs, who organized the reception, Robert Longworth, Cecilia and John Chumaro, William Wright, Matilda and her daughter Raquel Stefanian, Bev Chernoff, Celia Danoff, Tilly Karasik, Ron Hill, Ismi Benny, Terrence McCartney Philgate, Judy Purley, Pierre Beekmans, Alistair Brown, Alf Quinter, Joe Santos, Mario Peretta, Anne and her brothers Bill and John Farner, Connie Cardoso, Roberta King, Rosalind and Richard Gilbert, Linda Gerstein Faberman, Len Lewis, Jay Jackson, Marion and Ron Cashin, Saul Glass, John Scalpello, Joe Greenberg, Elaine Hilf Levison, Percy Brick, Benny Pimentel and his daughter Fatima Ferreira, Harriet Friedman, Gus the Barber, Konstantinos Angelico, and he was interviewed by Kristen Mueller. Where's Kristen? Yes, Kristen did that interview. Ray Gold. I guess that's it. What's the name? What's the name?
Rachel Brass.
Rachel Brass. Okay, Rachel Brass, I'm sorry. What I would like,
And those who are here today, can you just put your hand up and we're all going to give a big applause.
I'm going to do. I'm going to give you just a few little vignettes of some of the things you told me, which I found humorous or touching. You had tears, I had tears, you laughed, I laughed. Norman Cook isn't here. He was going to be one of our speakers, but he described the fun that the children had in the lane. And his favorite story was they were about 5 or years old, pulled their pants down. They wanted to see who had the longest stream on the garage door. And one little girl passed, and she took a long, slow, good look. And then she left, and she went and reported to her mother and to his mother and got into trouble. But first, she took a really good look. Then I interviewed two women who were in their 90s. What I did is I asked people at what ages you were when you lived in this neighborhood. So if you lived here during your adolescence and young adulthood, I asked about courting and dating. Well, one of the stories that was told to me was people used to go for walks or go to movies or come to dances at the Y. But they said that we were good girls. We didn't do anything bad. And then they named, these women in their 90s could name the two girls who had been the bad girls. They could tell me their names. 75 years later, they were Then I interviewed a man. No. This man told me his mother had lived down in this neighborhood. So he drove me up to her house, and I was interviewing her, and she was talking about the people that she had dated, and she's Jewish, and she named a man who wasn't Jewish. And her son said, dated a man who wasn't Jewish. He's in his 60s, and he just learned that now. People talked about the fish store. The children talked about getting chips of ice in the hot weather, grabbing the chips of ice and sucking on the ice. Mud Greenberg, the children who lived in his neighborhood, he was did some sports casting or writing for newspapers. So if he would get hockey sticks from hockey stars, he would give them to the kids in the neighborhood. They would cut them down because it was a very poor neighborhood. They would cut them down and use the hockey sticks. He also gave them a key to his house. If he was away, they were allowed to take the key and play ping pong in his basement when he wasn't there. There was somebody else who told me the story. It was her brother, one of the boys of Major, but they didn't want to tell the father because they were so worried how he would take it. It's such a tragedy. And then one day he was walking on the street and somebody came up to him and expressed condolences to him about his son who had died. So that's how he learned it. So I'm telling you, I heard funny stories, touching stories, and I want to say that it's really been a joy for me and a pleasure and an honor that you are open and you shared. It's been a very special life experience. One is to meet all of you, and the other is to work with this fabulous team of people. So I want to say thank you very much for that. I've invited 5 people to speak, just 5 people with different experiences. So I'm going to call each one of you up, and you'll just speak for a few minutes. Okay. Francis Scotkin.
Eleanor told me there would just be a few people. Anyway, I'm glad to see everyone here. And I'm Frances Silverman Godkin. I moved to 24 Major Street in July of 1941 with my parents and brother. It was a 3-story house with 10 rooms, 1 bathroom, a coal furnace, a big chestnut tree on the front yard, a garage in the back at the end of the lane, but unusable.